Michael Boulders here with you one more time. Today we're going to do a little bit different kind of a video. We're going to show you some bar basics that will really help you elevate your homemade cocktails into professional level mixology. And for me, the easiest way to do that is switch out any kind of fake syrups that you might find at the liquor store or grocery store with a whole bunch of artificial colors and flavors, and replace them with fresh squeezed juices. Pro tip number one is anytime you're juicing citrus, you want to leave it out at room temperature for about 1 hour. So right here I have some limes. So all we're going to do is cut those right in half. And you always want to use your citrus juice within about 24 hours of when you have squeezed it, just to really capture all that top-notch freshness. Now, there's a ton of different tools and gadgets that you can use to juice a lime, as simple as that may seem. I have this lovely triple straining press, which works great. I also have this heavy-duty citrus reamer, which is great for citrus that's a little bit bigger, like these oranges over here, and we'll get to those in a second. But if you don't have any of these fancy gadgets at home, a fork will always do the trick for you. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. Lime, cut in half, fork inserted in the middle. You're going to want to squeeze it with one hand. You're going to want to rotate counterclockwise with the other. So just a simple wrist motion. You might have to reposition your fork in the center, but that is really all there is to it. And after you've squeezed 6 or 7 of these limes, you're going to want to make sure you get absolutely every drop so you don't have to go back and squeeze more later. Just to show you the efficiency of the press, swap the fork out for this, the other half of this lime. Okay, then I'll show you the citrus reamer too, just for good measure. So this one is a little tough on the smaller fruit, but you just kind of want to rotate that around, rock it, twist, quarter turn with the lime half, twist once again. I think by far the easiest is the press, but like I said, in a pinch, your fork will absolutely do. That'll work on any citrus, oranges, grapefruits, anything that you might want to use to enhance a cocktail. Fresh squeezed juice is definitely the way to go. Alright, so we are going to do some oranges as well here. Another little tip, aside from leaving it at room temperature for at least an hour before you slice it, is you're always going to want to slice kind of right on the equator of the orange. So you should have the, if you have a navel orange, you've got the top, the bottom. You're going to want to run it sideways. It'll make it much easier to juice. And also roll it on the counter back and forth. Really break up some of those little membranes that are holding all the juice inside. And just go ahead and slice it along the equator. So it looks just like that. The bigger job, we're going to use the citrus reamer. Right dead in the center. And we are just going to give this a spin while we squeeze. Quarter turn, spin and squeeze. Quarter turn, spin and squeeze. And you really want to try to make sure you maximize every little drop that you can get out of each piece of fruit, because it's just that many more delicious cocktails you can make. Now we have plenty of fresh squeezed orange and lime juice for all of our great homemade mixology. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment that you're going to need in order to make mixology at home. The most important thing you can do when making high-end cocktails is that you really want to make sure you measure precisely the juices, liquors, and syrups that you're going to put into the cocktail, because the idea of creating a perfect drink per se is having everything exactly in balance, and these ratios are really important. I personally have invested myself in a Japanese style cocktail jigger. This large section is 2 ounces, the small here on the bottom is 1. There are some lines inside it that delineate by quarter ounces and halves. These are great, well worth the 10 or 11 bucks that you might be able to find them on that big old website on the internet that drops everything at your door in like 2 days. Or If you don't feel like doing that, you don't make cocktails that often, you can always use a set of measuring spoons. A really handy trick is that a tablespoon is equal to half an ounce. So if a recipe calls for 2 ounces of liquor, what would be 1 fill on here, you're simply going to use 4 tablespoons instead for that same 2 ounce measurement. We can get into the actual breakdowns of 3/4 of an ounce and whatnot when we actually get into cocktail making, but just want to let everybody know if you have a set of tablespoons, you too can measure your cocktails properly. In addition to that, I have a muddler. Muddler is always great, but you can use the back side of a spoon. This is always great for mojitos and breaking up mint, crushing fruit, really releasing all those essential oils and juices that are in those things that you really want to bring to life in cocktails. The last thing is a cocktail shaker. This is a Boston style shaker with a top that detaches and a little filter right here at the top. These are great. You can find these all over the place also. Mine happens to match my jigger. If you don't have one of those, a mason jar works really, really well as long as you've got the lid and it's nice and secure. So if you have these 1, 2, 3, 4 items at home, you'll be able to mix with the best of them. We've already talked about the equipment that you're going to need to set up your at-home mixology station. We talked a little bit about squeezing fresh fruits and juices. And the last thing we're going to do in our bar prep series is cover bar syrups. For anybody who's ever tried to mix sugar into an iced coffee, you know that it does not dissolve very well at all, or honey or anything of the like, because they're just simply too thick and won't dilute fast enough in a cold liquid. So we are going to take out a little bit of insurance on that and making sure that they blend smoothly, because balance in a drink is really important, so sugar is just as important as the acid is. Here I have some raw agave nectar, which is a great sweetener, especially with drinks with tequila. The old adage that things that go together, grow together, go together. And I also have a little bit of sugar in the raw for a twist on simple syrup. We're going to be using this because it's got a little bit of the molasses still left on it, which is going to give you that really rich brown sugar and kind of vanilla notes to a drink that are similar to dark rum. So I love to work with this in particular when you're working with rum cocktails. For both of these, and for any syrup, whether it's honey, whether it's white sugar, you're going to want to make everything in a 2-to-1 ratio. If I was at the club right now, I would be using a scale and measuring everything by weight. Since I am not, I am just going to use the lines that are right here on the side of my mason jar. And you can pretty much make this in any quantity that you wanted to, or how much sweetener you were looking to use. Each of the recipes we're going to be featuring in our Mixology with Mike series uses between 2.5 and 3 ounces. But if you heat this simple syrup up when you're making it with sugar, it will actually last about 6 months in your fridge. So if you wanted to go ahead and make an entire jar's worth right now to get you through a month and a half or two's worth of classes, be my guest, go right ahead. So first we're going to take the agave. We are going to measure that out to 4 ounces, because I don't want to make too much here. Okay, and then we are simply going to add half as much water. Now this is warm water straight from the faucet. I haven't heated this up whatsoever. It's just basically as hot as it can get out of the tap, which for agave and honey work perfectly fine. So I'm going to put our mason jar lid on top and just give it a really good shake. By about 10 to 15 seconds. One of the great things about working with agave nectar is when you add it to a cocktail, you get a really nice frothiness from it. And that's it. So you can see it's frothing up a little bit there. It's a little cloudy. As this settles down from being shaken, it should clear right out. Now we are going to do the exact same with our sugar in the raw, or turbinado sugar. Just going to measure out 4 ounces. Shake that so I see the line nice and clear there. It's half water, about half as much as was in the sugar. Give it a good old shake. Like I said, if you heat this up on the stove top, you'll get about 6 months shelf life. If you just do the shake method as I'm using here, it should last you for about a month. But I bet you'll use it in enough cocktails, it'll be gone in a week. Alright, so that is pretty much that. So here you have 2 great cocktail syrups that'll get you a long way to sweetening and balancing your drinks. And I hope you guys have the chance to get these ready before our mixology with Mike on Tuesdays. We'll see you there.